What's good, y'all? In this video, I'm going to talk about how entrepreneurs make decisions. Being successful in life is basically the sum total of tons of decisions. Some are small, some are big. But it pays for us to make good decisions. And as entrepreneurs, we have different sets of decisions than other people need to make. So in this video, I'm going to unpack a few different ways that entrepreneurs use to make decisions so that hopefully it'll make how you evaluate and take action in your life work out better and be a little easier. So with that being said, let's jump into it. We'll start with Jeff Bezos, who has this framework called the regret minimization framework. And it harkens back to when he was thinking about starting Amazon. His boss was checking him and basically saying, "Do you want to do this?" I'm actually going to cut to a clip of Jeff explaining this because he does it very, very artfully. Take it away, Jeff Bezos.
We went on a 2-hour walk in Central Park in New York City. And the conclusion of that was this, he said, this actually sounds like a really good idea to me. But it sounds like it would be a better idea for somebody who didn't already have a good job. And he convinced me to think about it for 48 hours before making a final decision. And so I went away and was trying to find the right framework in which to make that kind of big decision. And the framework I found, which made the decision incredibly easy, was what I called, which only a nerd would call, a regret minimization framework. So I wanted to project myself forward to age 80 and say, okay, now I'm looking back on my life. I want to have minimized the number of regrets I have. And I knew that when I was 80, I was not going to regret having tried this. I was not going to regret having wanted, trying to participate in this thing called the internet that I thought was going to be a really big deal. I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret that. But I knew the one thing I might regret is not ever having tried. And I knew that that would haunt me every day. And so when I thought about it that way, it was an incredibly easy decision. And I think that's a very good, it's if you can project yourself out to age 80 and sort of think, what will I think at that time? It gets you away from some of the daily pieces of confusion. I left this Wall Street firm in the middle of the year. When you do that, you walk away from your annual bonus. And that's the kind of thing that in the short term can confuse you. But if you think about the long term, then you can really make good life decisions that you won't regret later.
So it's fairly simple. The idea here is that you want to project your life forward 4 or 5 decades and imagine yourself in the twilight of your career and your life. Are you going to regret not having taken that action? And if you think it would haunt you, well then you might want to reconsider that action. You might really, really want to take it instead of not. That's the Jeff Bezos regret minimization framework, and it's a useful way of thinking about, do you want to take the leap on something big? Now let's move into another way of making decisions. And this is about reframing what winning looks like. To go at a slightly higher level, there were times in my life when I found myself a little hesitant to take action on something. It could be going and chatting up that attractive person at the coffee shop. It could be asking an investor for money. It could be asking for a raise or a promotion. And simply put, the brain is really good at talking ourselves out of doing that thing. And by reframing what winning looks like, we're going to shift it into something where it's a little easier to get a positive outcome. Let me explain what I mean by that. All 3 of those circumstances, talking to that attractive person, asking an investor for money, or trying to get a promotion from your boss, if we define success as them going out on the date with you, or the investor writing you a check, or getting that promotion, success there is dependent on other people's thoughts and actions. We are not in control of that. It's dependent on them going for whatever it is that you're offering them. And that's tough. Another way to think about this is, how could we shift this so that our actions are the only determinant of what success is? And if we do that, success comes down to, do you actually shoot your shot? So winning, instead of this person going out on a date with you, it's, did you ask them out? If the investor writing the check no longer becomes winning, and now it's you giving them your pitch, that's what winning is now. Getting that promotion, it's less about do you actually get it and more about shooting your shot. And if you do that, if that's what winning becomes, well then it's a lot easier to get a win. Now, you may be thinking, well, Cam, that's not really winning. Winning is actually going out on the date with them. Well, the thing is that what this approach does is it lets you take more shots. And if you take more shots, statistically speaking, you're gonna have more win. There's more chances for that shot to make it. So that's the real benefit here, is it inspires you to take more action and normalizes that behavior. So we just talked about how reframing winning can inspire action. But the next thing we need to think about is you can't take every action. You don't have unlimited time, energy, or money. So there's a ceiling here. What I'm going to do now is talk about a book called Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. And in this book, Annie compares life to poker. She does a really great job of establishing the similarities between those two things. In life, there is uncertainty. There is imperfect information. There are people who are bluffing, maybe trying to deceive you. And you have time to try multiple approaches, multiple rounds, multiple experiments. Well, that's exactly what poker is like. And what she does is says, if these two things are similar, one thing that's really important is that we just stay in the game. If you invest all of your money, if you go all in on a bet and you lose it, well, then you're out of the game. You are now closed off from whatever upside potential was part of that. So the takeaway is pretty simple. While we want to take action, you want to do it sensibly. You want to do it in a way so that when you have losses, ideally, you get to stay in the game. You don't have to exit and therefore close yourself off from future opportunities. So, those are 3 ways that entrepreneurs make decisions. We talked about the regret minimization framework from Jeff Bezos. We talked about reframing winning to inspire action. And finally, we talked about staying in the game. I hope these are helpful to you, and I wish you luck on your own entrepreneurial journey. Stay well, be safe, peace.